Now, if you look at the most popular social networks worldwide, July 2021, I got these statistics from Pustaka. You'll notice that the most used is Facebook, more than 2 million, YouTube, WhatsApp, Instagram. I do not know anything below that. Now even your shopping, I see my nieces and nephews all shopping in Instagram, where I'm left out actually. So these are the most popular social networks as of July 2021. Now, as of January 2021, there are 4.66 billion active internet users worldwide. Okay? Total population in the world is about 7.9 billion, and more than half are using internet. Oh yeah, sometimes I don't know why I cannot press enter. Wait, right. So more than half the population are using this. Now, out of the 4.66 billion, more than half of them, actually 92.6% of them access the internet via mobile devices. So almost all of us are now using the mobile devices. The best part is Asia is the region with the largest number of online users. So out of the 4.66 billion users, 2.5 billion users are coming from Asia. And Europe is the second with hardly, not even a billion there, 728 million. So now, what's wrong with this? This is good news, right? This is definitely good news. But what is happening is that, right. What is happening is that you have to ask yourself, who is creating the information? Now, when I look at the picture, that's a doctor there. I remember one doctor was complaining to me. She said that, when patients come to me, they do not listen to me. They say, Google said this, Google said that. She said, I studied so hard, I passed so much of exam, and yet they do not believe me. So now with all this new media, what is happening is that people are not sure where is the genuine information coming from. So let's say this person, whoever this person, he creates an information, and now he puts it in the media, he shares with a group of them, and he sends to a group of them. Now you think that group of people will just keep quiet? No, they will not. Our user behavior now is that we must share with somebody. So if that person has sent to 10 people, and each person sends to another 10 people, very soon from 1 person to 10 people to 100 to million. So more and more people will start receiving. And when you start receiving and forwarding, you do not know who created the information. So what happened is that the person who is the informed also informs. That means I am receiving the news. When I forward, it looks as if I am the person who created the information. So it's becoming very noisy there, too many people, and you don't know where is the root cause. And so then they will ask each other, hey, did you get that message? Was it forwarded to you? Is it true? Then we ask each other, we confirm with each other, and the entire situation in the new media has become very noisy. Now, when the situation is very noisy, actually you don't know where it started, why it started, how it started. So these are the points to ponder under new media. Because of the technology applications and the way we can forward, the creator of information is lost. Who created it, where it come from is lost. Now, so when it gets lost, we have this grapevine communication. I don't know how is it in schools, but those days, team building and schools, we have this grapevine communication game where I whisper something to one person, and then the other person will whisper to the other. And finally, when it comes, you don't know. The information is no longer what you started off with. So in this picture, somebody could have said, I saw a caterpillar. By the time it gets forwarded on and on and on, when he gets the news is that he saw a dinosaur. So the entire grapevine communication, because of the easy access of forwarding, it becomes very not true anymore. You can say it's a freedom of speech, but that's what it is. So what happens is that the information which is passed on from the person who created to others becomes very incomplete. It can even be biased because as I go along, I can add what I want to add. It becomes fabricated and it becomes manipulated. So the truth of the information when it was created gets lost. Now, but we must remember that when we get information, it must be true. Why must we waste time with information which is not true? So one of the criteria for information is that information must be true. If it's not true, why even bother with it? Even journalists these days are having problem because when reporters give them the news, they are in such a fast world that they have to publish continuously, and so they do not verify, they just publish it. So even if the information given is incorrect, they do not have time, they just publish it, and it gets published and people say, oh, you're giving me wrong information, we don't trust this newspaper, we don't trust this journalist, and the journalist will blame the reporter, and it just goes on, and some people even lose business actually. And information, if it's misleading, it can also affect the consumers who need that information to make decisions. It's affecting the nature of mankind, you see, and our belief system. Let's say we think this is the way things are, but continuously we get different information, our own belief system can be affected. Okay. So now what's happening is there's just like in Finding Nemo, you know, they asked the Nemo asked, where is the ocean? But forgot that it is actually in the ocean. So we are now blinded. We have forgotten. We are now blinded, meaning that we are not even aware that we are affected by the new media. Because it is there with us every day. We're so engrossed. We wake up to it. We sleep on it. We don't know locations anymore. We have to put on the Google location and it will take us somewhere. We even forgot our contact numbers. We have to look at the media to remind us of contact numbers. That's how we have been blinded. We are just like the fish in the ocean. We are now in the media. We're swimming with it and we are blinded by it. So when we are blinded by it, there are other negative effects. And first thing is internet addiction. Yeah, I'm sure you can ask yourself if you are addicted, your loved ones are addicted, your family ones are addicted, because it has become a behavior, a media behavior. And this internet addiction, you can have sleep deprivation, we can be isolated, we can have conflict with family members. It is said, studies have said that approximately 1 in 3 divorces resulted from social media related disagreements. So if you have people there, your friends using Facebook, the study also said that if you use Facebook more than once an hour, you are likely to experience conflict with your loved ones. So this is one of the negative effects. The other one is cyberbullying. Yeah, the cyberbullying is something which we may not experience, but the younger ones might experience, and they might not even tell people they are being bullied. So the other study in US by the National Center for Health says that young adults under the age of 25 who were victimized by cyberbullying were twice as likely to commit suicide or self-harm in other ways. So this is a result of technology where you can just forward and affect people. The other is trolling. Trolling is just like, you know, those days you read storybooks, children's story, the troll sits under the bridge, like a monster. You don't know whom is going to affect and he starts telling bad stories that affect you. So this one, I got it from this book, Shepara 2018, which says that we are now really blinded to the effects of media. Now, let me show you an example. This is an example. It says, help save the endangered Pacific Northwest tree octopus from extinction. Now, when you go into this website, everything is there. The author, because we teach our students, look at the author, look at the URL, look at the date, look at the links, and everything was perfect. If you click on the person creating the Zapoto line, it takes you to her blog. And there's also a page there how you can help. So when this came out, it was in the early 2016 or what, So when people saw this, because nowadays people are very sustainable nature, they want to save the world. So they started forwarding and, spreading the news. So much so, there were some followers to this endangered species. But the true fact is that there's no such species as Pacific Northwest Sea octopus. So why this was started? This was started because it was an information literacy blog. That means the teacher who started it, the group of teachers wanted to test their students to see whether they can believe the information in the internet. So they started this. Their intention was never to fool or misinform anyone. The intention was for their students. But because with technology, new media, you can forward, it just got forwarded. So other teachers saw it and they started using in class. And one of the questions in the literacy class was that, if you were to ask to save this octopus, would you support and sign? And many of them say, yes, I will support, meaning that they did not even verify. This is a fictitious blog. So this was a case where the intention was not to misinform anyone, but because of the new media, it gets forwarded and you lose touch of what is the real story and you believe it. Now let's look at another example. This is a case of where the intention is not good at all. So we as users of information receiving from the new media must be very alert to the fact that what is the intention of the person. So in this case, My Sajastra already have got all our phone numbers. They already have got our address, everything. So when you get a message saying, please verify your phone number, we should be alert. Why should My Sajastra ask this? My Sajastra will never ask this. But this is there's some kind of malicious intention behind this. So when anybody with this new media have backdoor access to people's communication, then you can never know. They can be hackers, they are malicious agents for some reason. The moment they can get access, they are going to misuse the users. But what happens is that because we are all in this sea of new media, we think, that is the trend, so what? Many people pay online using their phone. Many people trust this, you don't know who the seller is, they just communicate, they buy, they transfer money. And when the product doesn't come, and I ask my nieces, what happens when you pay, the product doesn't come? Oh, it's okay, we'll just go back, no problem. That kind of attitude has come over the young people using the new media. They are willing to share their information. Talking about this, there was a recent case in India. That actress, she put up a case. She said all these people in the media are talking bad about her, saying very bad things about her. So she was putting up a case, and the court rejected her case. Why the court rejected the case? That was just a recent thing. The court rejected because the court said, you willingly have given the media so much information about you. So if they start talking about you, what can you do? The only thing you can ask is ask public apology. So now this is misinformation. While we are all enjoying our social networks, many deceptive activities. The trouble is we don't know who is good, who is not good, such as fake news, rumors can mislead users into believing misinformation. And what is this misinformation? Misinformation means a false statement to lead people astray by hiding the correct facts. But having said that, the detection of misinformation is very difficult. Very difficult. So we ourselves, we need critical thinking to understand how related or unrelated the reported information is when compared to reality. We have to ask around, we have to find out from the expert, but that's the only way to save ourselves. So these are 3 examples of my phone is the rumor is a story of doubtful truth that you have seen, right? You say that a gardenia, during the COVID time, oh, the stores are running out of gardenia, and so everybody rushed there. The price of petrol is going up. Next day, everybody rushed to the petrol station. We don't even bother to find out, is it true? Is it coming from the real source? We don't find out. Spam is another kind of misinformation, and many of us, I've also fallen prey of spam because it looks so real. The email, the name is so close to people you know that you think that it is true, and somehow you click on the URL. So this is spam. And the other is false information. There are many words like misinformation, disinformation. The difference is in the intention. Now, this article by Kyle Anderson, he wrote in the Law and Psychological Review. He said, so what if you get wrong information? He said, it is a real threat for humankind. He said that technology and our psychology is making misinformation very powerful. So the first point he says is that we human beings, as a group of as a species, we believe each other. That is the only way our survival is. If we are always suspicious of each other, we'll be killing each other, you see. So naturally, we are people who believe each other. It's a very automatic belief system we have. And after we get the information, after you touch fire, only then you say you burn. After you get the information, you agree, and then you say, oh my God, this is not right. Is it right? So by nature, we are such. So when people are abusing technology and giving you wrong information, actually you get caught in it. The other one is that he says, this paper, it says that we already have our pre-existing mental models. That means we have shortcut, So when somebody says something, you say, yeah lah, I know lah, it must be true, because that day also somebody said this. So our nature is that we already have some kind of information behind. We got a background information, and the new information, when it comes, it says it's true. We do not even bother to ask, is it true? So the repeated exposure to the same information can create and reinforce the impression in our mind. So the repetition creates familiarity. So each time you look at an advertisement, you think, it must be true, because it's said again and again. And the brain, somehow the human brain interprets familiarity as a marker of accuracy. So we keep on seeing the same thing, we think it is true. And the other one is the new media have got these user incentives. It's structured, our social media is structured in such a way that, it goes into our emotions. It does not affect we are unable to think rationally because it goes straight to the emotion. You put up a picture and everybody likes. You're so happy with it. You're so happy with it. But they might have just liked, not even looking at their face, they have liked it, you see. So because it goes into the emotions, you don't even see who are the people like. You don't care. It's been liked. That is our own individual user. The other is the social media platform itself. They're collecting a lot of data on us. They are deciding our preference without even realizing it. Just like I say, when I search something in Google, every day I get updated information, and my friends say, how do you know the latest news? Because Google supply me, because Google thinks I'm passionate about this. So much so that all this volume collected, they're collecting behind the scene, and you don't know who is collecting. They might be selling it to these marketers, you don't know, you see. So the next advertisement will be something to suit our taste. So because of that platform, the social media platform itself, the technology, our own psychology, this paper says that getting wrong information is really a serious threat. So this is the fake news which came from the IFLA. I also put it up in my library webpage. But it's the same thing. We say, look at the source, look at the date, see who has written it, ask the experts. It's the same thing, but how many people actually bother with this? How do we know it's even a joke? Because it comes repeatedly, we believe it. So I remember putting this up in my library website. I don't know how many people actually bother. We librarians ourselves are actually fooled by fake news. So now, should the government seek to ban online falsehood? Here, the government has been trying all the while. Within 1 year period from June 2017 to May 2018, at least 17 countries approved or proposed laws that would restrict online media in the name of fighting fake news and online manipulation. But the moment the government comes up with the law, others will say, oh, look, you are affecting freedom of speech. And so every time the government tries to say something, there will be opposition to it. Now, in October 2019, one of the world's most recent laws banning fake news went into effect in Singapore. The Protection from Online Falsehood and Manipulation Act, 2019, and the government justified this law by saying that we need to protect the society from hostile parties who could turn different groups against one another and cause disorder. So it's not the government or the media who is creating anything, it is the individual who are abusing the media. Now, in Malaysia, the Anti-Fake News Act came about in 2018. It was implemented just before the general election, because the general election in Malaysia was really affected by all this media news. So it was seen as necessary to stop the circulation of fake news that threaten public order and national security, and to protect society from becoming victims of fake news. Again, there will be a group of people who are saying, oh, you are going against freedom of speech, you are covering up, plus so that you cannot criticize the government. It goes on and on, you see. But before that, even in 1998, we already had the Communications and Multimedia Act. And the Communications and Multimedia Act says that it is an offense for any person to use a network facility to knowingly make, create, solicit, or initiate a communication which is obscene, indecent, false, menacing, offensive. It was already there in 1998, but it's very difficult. It's very difficult. I know of somebody who had a problem with the Facebook, with the WhatsApp, because somebody was communicating bad things about her in WhatsApp, and they took the picture from her Facebook. So she went to this Communication Multimedia Ministry. There's nothing much they can do, because you can't even trace when that happened, who did it. So it's a bit difficult. It is really up to the individual, if you ask me. And again, it's the freedom of speech. So now, we should, on our own, sharpen our critical ability. If you could remember, the mobile phone was never for information. The mobile phone was started or was invented for communication. And the PC and the internet was for information. So it was as long as they stayed separate, we did not have this misinformation coming in. But we have all now combined in the name of smartphones. Our phones can do everything for us. Our phones can even do voice, recognize our voice. We don't have to type anything anymore. Okay? So in the name of smartphones, we have combined, and it's become very, very difficult. We say every day I communicate with people, but whom do you communicate with? You do not communicate with people nearby. You communicate with many, many people who are miles away. And you get affected by them, you argue with them, you think they're speaking the truth, but you don't even know who they are. And the sad fact is, we all have lost our sense of time. Now we don't know when is my personal time. Those days you go back at 5:30, you're off work, but no, you answer emails, you continue, you doing, even in office, you continue watching some kind of serial drama if you're interested in. Then your leisure time allocation is all becoming a mixture. So we, on our own, as individuals, we ourselves should be aware of the underlying concerns which is controlling our own behavior. Now, this is information evaluation. I read this. It says that focus on the content. Do not say, anything from WhatsApp is bad, anything from Twitter is bad. No, not necessarily so. Focus on the contents. And how do we believe or trust the information? According to sources, it says we must see whether it's complete, it's interpretable, is it coming from the reliable source? But How many times are we going to confirm? How many times are we going to say, where does this come from? So much so people are not going to confirm anymore. This is from this Capet and Thomas. So they gave this simple model. They say that these are the 4 questions you should ask. First 2 question is who is providing it and what does he know about it? Now these 2 questions does not relate to the contents at all. It is source. So for example, I believe in Google. So who is providing it? Google. Okay, we can believe the information. So the first 2 question is, where is it coming from? If it's coming from your WhatsApp, who is the person who is sending it to you? So you need to know the source of who is providing it and what does this person know about it. So if your child is sending to it, once my elder sister sent me a WhatsApp, she said, the famous actor Amitabh Bachchan passed away, I said, how do you know? She said, there, I'm receiving this. I mean, why should I believe her? Because it was never in the news. So the source is the first criteria. Do not look at the contents first, see where is it coming from, and then look at the content. So how likely is it? Has it been reported elsewhere? Is the actual content? So I once, I'm in a WhatsApp group with my friends, and they kept on saying, oh, the white tiger in Sunway Lagoon escaped, So everybody was talking about it. But is it credible because they are from other parts of Kuala Lumpur? They don't know Sunway Lagoon, whereas I am here. And I was thinking, where got white tiger in Lagoon? So I was thinking, how come the Sunway is so quiet when such a serious incident happened? And I myself started looking at all the news. Then I realized it's an old news in some other part of the world, a white tiger escaped from the zoo and somebody fabricated and said Sunway. So the credibility of it, but how many people would know? I would know because I was in Sunway. I knew there's no such white tiger in the lagoon. But when you're far away, you believe it, you see. So the first thing is, where does it come from and how likely is it? If you're not sure, ask somebody working in Sunway. That's what it says. Ask the experts. And if you are a teacher or a librarian, do try to include media literacy in your curriculum so that it develop a lasting resistance to misinformation. That means it's not that you just finish the course and you forget about it. They must understand, you see. If there are tools to understand biases, inaccuracies in news portals, once the Malaysia came up with a software, but I don't think it worked very well. So we must teach students to think critically, identify the author goals, what is their intention, and understand the role of media in society. And the media literacy is not to make every citizen a fact checker. Hey, check, can you verify this? Can you verify? No, that's not our role. Our role is to make them realize that we must know what is true, what is not true, whom we can trust, whom we cannot trust. So that is what media literacy is about. Not to check all the time, but our own critical thinking must be developed. So in conclusion, I must say that we are becoming a surveillance society. So what if it's a surveillance society? It is good news, right? But we are not monitored by the government or the police. We are watching over one another. And this has become very sad because we are keeping away from each other. We are not sharing good news with each other because, it will be misused by some people. So we are all continuously watching over one another. We are not mixing well with each other. We are going into isolation. So the surveillance is not from top, bottom. The surveillance has become lateral, same level, horizontal level. And we also can't do anything about the fact that whatever you do, all those cookies, all the data collected is actually analyzed and sold to market. This is a fact which we have to realize. And we are evolving into a culture of insecurity and suspicions. And this is my reference. That's all. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Wow. Very interesting. Dr. Janaki, I actually learned a lot from you because I'll be very frank. The presentation that you prepared is somehow I do have some overlaps with you. So I really understand the contents and the sharings that you actually mentioned earlier. But there are also some points that I find really interesting, and to me, I believe to most of the audience as well. Example, more than half of the Earth population is using online right now. You mentioned, right? Wow, that is a lot. I would think that by the differentiations of age gap, it will not be at least half, but 50 something percent, more than 50% are actually using online. Now that is interesting. Another personal point is actually same with you. I'm also not in Instagram.
Yeah.
At most Facebook. Sorry, I'm not even a Facebook guy. My wife is Facebook. I'm totally not in Instagram. But I'm really surprised how the Instagram has evolved from picture viewing. Now
Yes,
there have been
exactly. Now they're doing buying online in Instagram.
exactly. There's actually want to say I don't know how people do business using Instagram. Now that is really creative. I mean, this is how people have evolved into that. So yeah, these are really interesting points. I also dear audience, if you have any questions, feel free to put in your questions to Dr. Janaki, or if you have any comments or any thoughts to share, please do so. You can also put it into the chat as well. So at this moment of time, there is actually no questions so far, Dr. Janaki.
Too much for them to digest.
It's good. For me, yeah. For me, I think it's actually interesting. I like that. I like the sharing from your side. Yeah. Okay. With that, then I'll then invite the second speaker, which is me.
Yourself.
I'll be inviting myself for the second presentation. My presentation is so much shorter, and just wanted to bring some interactive with our audience today. Allow me to start sharing my screen. Give me 1 second. So, right. So my title, in conjunction with Media and Information Literacy Week, my title is actually the Online Disinformation, a Hidden Threat. If you see, this is very similar to one of the slides that Dr. Janaki actually made about the disinformation, the threat that is posed to the human itself. So just to give everyone an overview, what to expect in my presentation. My presentation is very short. I am basically, I'm a little biased. I'm here not only to share about the disinformation, but I'm also here to share with you how to search for the resources under the Emerald. Under Emerald, Pustaka has subscriptions to expert briefing. I will tell you more about that. But my presentations will have two parts. The part number one would be talking about the online disinformation. The part number two would be just sharing with you how can we find and search for resources under the Pustaka subscription. Please, if you have joined in the previous training by William, organized by Pustaka, that was the cute little plush toy that we actually gave away. And this time around, I'm also going to do a short quiz. Please stay until the end. This is the one. I'm not sure you guys are able to see that. This little guy here is a mascot, where it's a token where Emerald support the endangered species. So this is where we support the snow leopard. And if anyone that have this and have a selfie, tweet that. Emerald will also donate £2 for each of the tweet to support the snow leopards fund. Right. So there is a short quiz at the end of this session. More and more, I would like to, all in all, I would like to say thank you so much. A big thank you to Dr. Janaki, first of all, for willing to accept being a speaker with me in these particular sessions. I also like to thank you to Pan Norsima, Pan Aini, Pan Nija, and Tony and the team to arrange these particular sessions. Also, a big thank you to all the audience today. Any questions, any comment, any sharing or thoughts, please write in the chat itself. We would like to hear more from you. Let's go into the part 1 where I will talk about the online disinformation. Now, what do you mean by a hidden threat? Can I get everyone, if you may, right? Please go into the chat on this particular chat itself. I just want to get you to participate with me. Where do you search for information? Where do you read for information? If you do not mind, you can put either in the Q&A or in the chat. Oh, sorry, in the chat, right? In the chat, yes. How do you find, right? How do you find informations nowadays? Like Chong's, I've put that over there by Google search. I think Google search and Wikipedia, Rosman. Yeah, yes. I mean, these are the two one. Not the two one. I mean, quite the most common ones. We have Google search, we have Wikipedia. How about the rest? How do you search for information? How do you find information? Google, all right. The top 3 for Google. Google only. Serious? Google only. What is 4chan? Oh, interesting. 4chan is what? YouTube, all right.
Everybody trusts Google, William.
Yeah, everybody trusts Google. Everybody trusts Google. Now, Google, yes, Google Scholar, yes. Well, coming over here itself, Bing, all right, Facebook, relevant website, yes. So, like Dr. Shanaki first few presentations, she mentions about Google and as a as a general human being, we are good at our hearts. We do have our belief system. We tend to believe our friends, our family, our colleagues, that what they say is true, what they say does not, there's no false or misinformation to them. So because of that, then most of it actually do a Google. So you can see more of these are very familiar with you. To Google that, some informations mainly in this era coming from either the Facebook or in the Instagrams or even in Twitter. Our region is not much of Twitter user, but in the Westerns, if you're talking about the US topography or in the European country, Twitter play a very significant role. In fact, some research actually say that Twitter, the usage of Twitter are even higher than Facebook itself. Right? Facebook, Twitter, Instagrams, and YouTube as a media content creator nowadays, all the YouTuber, right, creating videos and things like that. TikTok, I've never understand. I've no account in TikTok. I've never understand how TikTok can be so famous, can be so wow. In a way, many people just like to watch TikTok, and being TikToks, all these informations are there too. I'm actually surprised that in the chat you did not actually put in WhatsApp, Telegram, WeChat, and things like that. Dr. Janaki just now mentioned in her examples, when using the WhatsApp communications, someone actually told her about the white tiger that actually got loose. So it's actually from WhatsApp. Then from there, she'll try to find information online. But believe it or not, I think most of us do agree WhatsApp, Telegrams, is actually play such important role. This is actually where we also consumed the information. When people send link to us, when we click on the link, when we click on all the information during COVID-19, the number of cases by daily and things like that. Yeah, all these play a very significant role. Well, for me, like some of you're using Google Scholar or relevant websites. For me myself, I do use Malaysia Kini or some online news outlet like NST, The Star, right, to also read the local news. I would like to apologize first. I hardly watch TV. Or rather say TV news. But in our Malaysia's, TV3, the local news plays a very important role in the rural area where these are the these are the one of the main sources where people consumed the informations. Now, with this, what I'm actually saying is that, so these are all the information outlets that we can actually find. But from these informations, how do we know that these are, genuine or these are misleading? Dr. Janaki actually mentioned that it's really hard to identify that. In fact, it's so difficult because it could be a spam, it could be misleading, it could be fake as well. So one of the very good example that I would like to bring you up, this was I think this 2 years ago in 2019, if I'm mistaken. Well, I think you all know who is this guy. Donald Trump, when he was still the president of the United States back then. One of the very funny moments, there are so many examples that I can borrow from Donald Trump. One of the examples that I find relevant and also entertaining, which is this. If you do not know, you can just go into YouTube and have a look into that. So Trump appears to show Sharpie altered hurricane map. Now, what is this? This is actually where I think I had that over here. Right, yes, over here. Now, this is actually by The Star, where The Star actually published that in 2019, yeah? I'm not too sure if you're able to hear that.
We thought we'd give you an update.
U.S. President Donald Trump was swept into a Twitter storm on Wednesday after a press briefing in the Oval Office where he displayed a dated and altered forecast map of Hurricane Dorian's potential path.
We had actually...
So, right. So this is a short one. If you find that interesting, you can go and YouTube that later. This is the part where the weather departments in the US that have shared or identified the Dorian hurricane and forecast where does this hurricanes will going to land, is going to impact. So from here you can see that it's actually moving at this particular speed at this particular date, and it will then basically going to land at the South Florida. And if you notice a black ink here, this is when the president himself actually used Sharpie pen. Normally we call it marker pen now. Use the marker pen just to draw the extension of where the hurricanes will going to land. Now this actually draw a very big backlash to him, saying that how could he actually altered? How could he actually change the forecast if based on what he has said earlier in his tweet and things like that? Now, this information, is this a spam information or these informations or or falsehood informations? Even the president himself made such I would not say a mistake, but made such wrong statements to the public and everyone in the world. For us in Subang Jaya or in Kuching or in Cebu, Miri, that can access to YouTube, then we know this. And some even of his supporters are also support him, saying that yes, we're going to land over them. Now supporting him will definitely going to support him, but is this going to be a true or is it not going to be true? So this is some things that I wanted to bring the audience today to have a critical thinking. Like Dr. Janaki was saying, we need to have a critical thinking about what's this. So even by the news outlets and by the president himself, could the statements made by the presidents, is that true or not true, right? So these are some things to actually explore upon. I would like to also get you all to, I forgot to put animation. I also like you all to explore this. I'm going to share with you how to explore that. Under the Emerald resources, we have this called the expert briefing. Under the expert briefing, there is one news. There's actually one briefing titled "Online Disinformation is Greater Risk for Older Users." Can I get everyone to write in the chat tell me why and also how, if you agree that the senior citizens helped expand the disinformations. Now, let me quickly just to give you some background. So basically, these briefings talks about the senior citizens or senior citizens or older generations tend to share more misinformation, tend to do unintentionally share wrong information or forwarded wrong information to outside. So do you agree into that? If you do agree, tell me why. Why do you actually agree in that? All right, yeah, you agreed. When I first read this, I am partially agreed to Chong's thing. I actually partially agreed because I do not know. I do not put all my bets, in this particular, because I not all older generations might do that. Probably some are more literate may do that, right? So but from here itself, when you actually able to go through this, then you will see that the reason why the authors, right, actually write this. This is actually because much of the older citizens in the United States, in US, right, mainly use the televisions as their primary news source. So if in the US, because they always talk about freedom, they always talk about freedom of speech, able to share their views, their opinions, and things like that. And all these opinions and views are also being published or also being aired in their television network. So when people, older people or younger people, actually consume the television's content itself, so people tend to believe what they, yes, exactly. People just tend to believe what the TV anchor told me. The TV anchor say, Astro AEC told me, or MTV7 told me, right, something like that. So the older generation people tends to accept what the television network tell us. Probably in the older day, if the journalists, the TV anchors may have checked the content first, but nowadays it's actually very difficult. Like Dr. Janaki said, very difficult. Then the others, like the evolutions of the technology landscapes, and also for older people, they are not able to check the credibility of the source, not as the younger people, not as you and me that are IT literate or online literate. Right. Now, if I were to bring this into another topic, now why do I want to bring this topic? Because William, right, I find this topic very interesting. Like in Malaysia, our last election was in 2018. Our next elections would be in 2023. I think 2023, right? 2023, somewhere around there. And I think Sarawak election is it coming up soon? So now, if such disinformation happens in our community, in our news outlet, in our social media platforms, what do you think will happen to election campaign? So what do you think? How can people actually believe what does the politicians say, or believe what they have tweeted, or they have Facebook, or their Instagrams, or and so. Now, so over here on this, you see that the analysis that are given, right, for older generations, for senior citizens that are over 65 years old, they have been using Facebooks and in the US presidential elections. So they use Facebook 7 times than the younger generations. So younger generations are already using Facebook, but 65 years old use 7 times more than the younger generations. And this, not only on Facebook, but also Twitter, when the older voters are more likely to consume and also forward and share the news around. Now, this is some of the analysis and the literacies. You can see like Facebook and Twitters, they also have their technology in place to check. They have the algorithm in place to actually monitor the fake news and things like that. But does that enough? Is it adequate? And one of the, probably you heard this before, the election fraud or the election manipulations in US 2016, right? So example, the manipulated photos, memes, advertisings, specifically for all the paid content. If you have money, basically you win the election. So one of the saying, right, saying that. So if you have money to pay for the advertisements, pay for the contents, like what the Russia did that. So the Russians was using this particular tactic to design all the fake photos or the contents and post it on the Facebook. And this basically helps the president itself to win their elections. Now, this is just some of the things that you're going to read in this particular. If you have, interest onto that, I will like to implore you to have a read into that. So another one of the examples is close to our region here. These informations that influence our Southeast Asians on the censorships, like in Malaysia. So like in Malaysia, we actually put in the anti-fake news. Dr. Janaki also put that in 2017 and 2018 itself. So what are the policy that we should adopt, right? So the anti-fake news will actually adopt in 2018 to basically curb, to actually stop the fake news. But there are also rumors saying that this also being used to, cut the freedom of speech, of that. But with that, many of this actually happens into them. One of the very interesting things that I actually find, which is also right here, all in all, general and digital literacy are very low in many countries. Now, this is actually true. Simply means that our people, example, Malaysian, we all consume information, but we hardly question where this information comes about. We just take lah. People give us, we just take saja. We just read. So this mean by the digital literacies, So, and also due to lack of critical thinking, right? The users actually have difficulties to identify the false informations. Take an example, Indonesia. If you can put into the chat, what do you think? Indonesia, although Indonesia, which is our current region, the largest economy, out of the 63 countries in the 2020 World Digital Competitiveness Ranking. So what do you think Indonesia is ranked into here? So any of your thoughts over here? These questions basically questions that out of 63 countries, right, in the digital competitiveness ranking itself. So where does Indonesia rank? How literacy as their user is? Are they very literate? Normally, more literate would be like top 10s and things like that, or are they in the medium, or are they in the lower bracket? Lower bracket simply means that they are not literacy enough, right, in the particular country. What do you think? For Mais, Nola, Anak, right? Any statistics? Yes, the statistics you can find that in the expert briefings informations. So right over here, you can see that for the Indonesia's, right, even though it's the largest, yes, true. I also agree with you, Tom. So even though they are largest economy itself, but they actually rank 56 out of 63. So simply means that I'm not bad mouthing. I'm actually referring to these particular statements. The country, even though it's the largest economy, but the literacy level of the peoples over there are not not high enough. Yeah, so many things that we can just talk about, and many informations that you can find from the expert briefings. Another one that I would also like to talk about before I go into my last few slides, which is this algorithm. William, myself, I am quite IT literate in somehow. I like to learn. I do like to learn a lot. One of the things I like to learn is about the technology-wise. Algorithms, is it enough to actually stop these informations? How many of you agree that there are so many AI out there to check, informations, to monitor informations, to see what we are talking about and things like that? Take it like example, Facebook. Yeah, many really. Take it like Facebook, Twitter. They basically hired a group of people, tons of people, just to read the posts, to read the comments, to identify is it a false information before they delete the post and things like that. So to have humans to check is really difficult. Because of that, technology-wise, many companies out there are building their own algorithms. But is it sufficient? AI, is it sufficient itself? So this is a good read. I because of times I may not able to go deep into here, but I just wanted to tell you that there's always a risk to rely on AI. AI cannot check so many things. It's up to the people like you and me. When we read some things, we need to question about that. AI is only help us to indicate. AI can only help us to flag a certain incident so that we can investigate further. So this is some of it that you can basically read about it. Because of time issues, I will just quickly let you know what is Expert Briefing. Expert Briefing is the newest product by Emerald, and this has been subscribed by Pustaka, Negeri Sarawak. Please use the OPEC Pustakas to log in, and you can basically explore more on the expert briefings. Expert briefings basically contains trusted and peer-reviewed analysis. Expert briefings was introduced to United States presidents since Richard Nixon time. So the US presidents has been using expert briefings for their daily news, for their daily analysis, for their quick decision makings. Right now, it's actually been available, and a lot of governments around the world have been using the expert briefings. There are three types of expert briefing formats: the long form, which is the analysis, which is called the expert briefing. We also have the graphic analysis that covers the picture. Very easy to read. To refer to is a picture, then a little bit, a few of the short points. And summary. Summary basically is a short paragraph of what have been happenings around the world. Normally, is a very brief telling about the situations or some newsletters and things like that, right? So on all this is that, I would also like you all to go into this link here so that you can subscribe to here. So this is basically what you call topics for each of our month. So in every month itself, the teams, the analysis teams will will actually pick the most interesting or the most relevant or hot topic analysis out there. What is actually happening around the world, what is actually happens to Afghanistan, happens to Russia and China, and things like that. And you can see Malaysia, there are quite a number of Malaysia informations over right here. Just a quick one before I go into the short quiz. So once you have got into the Pustaka OPEC. Once you have logged in into here, you can just go into the subscribe e-journal. Under subscribe e-journal, you can find the Emerald. So once you click on the Emerald, it brings you to the Emerald page. So once you're in the Emerald page, example, if I were to, these are online, this information is greater risk for older user, the one that I use in my PowerPoint. So this is also the one, Southeast Asia censorship, and also the algorithms over here. So if you were to go browse our content and expert briefing, I hope it did not log me out. No, it didn't log me out, which is good. So over here, this is the expert briefing is powered by Oxford Analytica. So, and these resources is now available in Emerald database. So if you were to click here to view all the resources, all about the expert briefings. So, sorry. So once you click into here, you can find all of these informations. As I said earlier, there are 3 types of content: the analysis, the summary, the analysis, and also the graphics itself. So 3 different type of contents for different type of readers. So over here, this is a search bar. So you do not need to erase that. From here, you can even add more. So example, I want to add Malaysia. So what I'm actually doing is that I am searching the expert briefing resources that has a Malaysia tied to. So over here, you can see a very recent one, June 2021, China-Malaysia maritime dispute, right? Malaysia-Singapore on the railway, 2018, 2015. If I were to find a very recent one, let's say last 3 months. So the last 3 months itself over here. So what you can see, we are talking about key agreement debate. Muhyiddin have already been removed. Right, Malaysia, Sarawak, we will likely have elections soon. Honestly, I did not know that too. So from here, so this was 21st October, last week. So now this is a summary that you can actually read that. What I like best, right, about our expert briefing is that, also this is also new, Premium Party, Malacca poll, bring risk. So this is also, so what I like best is that, so this is the headline, and this is a short summary of sound. The one that I actually like the best would be that most of this will have a chronology. If you think that you like to read this, you like to read more about this, you can just click on here. That will bring you to the chronological event. What happens before this? So before this had happened, the Malacca poll. So this is the Malacca poll, also a summary. So before the Malacca poll, so what had happened? So this also happens. So if you feel like readings, continue to read what has happens before this. So all these links will bring you to what happens way before. Example, you can see so many of these summaries that brings us to the analysis. Now this is the analysis. It talks about the significance, the impact, the analysis, and so and so. Please feel free to explore more into that. So with that, I would like to end the sessions. If there's any questions from the floor, feel free to do that. To Tony and Juan Nija. So I also like to get the audience, right? Audience, if you're still around, para hadirin sekalian, if you're still around, let's have some challenge. Let's challenge yourself in just a quick 10 minutes of time. Then we're just going to end the sessions, yeah? While we're waiting, we're going to address to the questions. If you have any questions in the chat, you can put it right now. So you can explore on the Emerald contents. Just go to expert briefings, write into the chat. For the first 3 correct answers, you shall receive this little plush toy over here. So one is the challenge, very, very easy. In fact, I've already given you the answer just now. So in the chat, write down your name, write down your handphone number so that I can, contact you, and write down your answer. So answer to what? Answer to this. Write down the title of what you can find, the title of the particular expert briefings. title of extra briefing content about Malaysia in the year 2021. I just want to know, is there any expert briefing contents about Malaysia in the year 2021? So if there are any, if there is any, so I just need you all to put into the, just copy paste the title itself. So right, I'm going to do that. I'm going to paste that onto the chat. Dear all, you probably will see from the chat itself, you can see that I put them in to put in the name, handphone, and the answer. So we're going to end this by 3:55 example. Right. Oh, okay, all right. So we're going to end this by 3:55. While you guys, for those that wants to challenge, please challenge that. For those that have any questions, please feel free to put in the chat. I think there is a questions from the floor. Yes, if I may, I will just thank you, Puan Niza, for the questions. Question is actually from Chong. The question actually says, in case we need assistance in, in case we need assistance in exploring more in extra briefing, can we have a PIC contact to assist? Yes. First place, I would like to suggest to ask Pustaka team on how to log in, how to actually log in, to, wow, very fast. How to actually log into log into the Pustaka OPAC. So once you are in the Pustaka OPAC, please explore the Emerald platforms. If you have any questions during your time using the Emerald database, please feel free to ask Pustaka team, or else you can also ask me to my email directly. I'll put my email in the chat. Wow, very good. Right. Very good. Well, we already have two. Okay, we already have two people that answer that. Thank you. We have Chong that answer that. Sarawak will likely, Malaysia's Sarawak will likely have elections soon. So this is the answers from Chong. Congratulations, you got. New premier will struggle to forge unity. Right. Malaysian new premier will struggle to forge unity. So this is the one also in 2021. Congratulations to Suliza. You also got that correct. And the last ones we have Veronica. Malaysia's you have the same. Veronica, you have the same, which is Malaysia Sarawak will likely have elections soon, which is over right here. All right, I'll consider that as correct as well. To you. Right, with that, I just want to ask if there's any question from the floor to Dr. Janaki or to me or to the Pustaka team. Please feel free to write your questions or your comment. Oh, okay. The content of PIC for Emerald database usage, right? You may contact. I'm not too sure who is in Pustaka. You may contact Pustaka team. All right. Or me myself at wlaw@emerald.com. All right. Hope I answered to Chong. Yeah. That. Then this is from. Okay, all right. Okay, thank you so much. I think there are no questions. So because of times, we're going to end by 4 p.m. So we have another 9 minutes to go. From here, I would like to also invite Dr. Janaki, if you are here. Before we end the sessions for today, right? Do you have any? Let me unshare. Do you have any comments or any thoughts on the media and literacy for our audience here? A very general, but basically I'm actually asking your feedback.
That's interesting, actually. Even your Emerald briefing is something I've not heard. Expert briefing.
All right.
Very good, actually. So if we have that, what is that? We can actually verify our information, right? Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Actually, expert briefings, the content itself was coming up from the Oxford Analytica team. So the content, basically we actually partnership with Oxford and Emerald partnership with Oxford Analytica, and we basically brought the contents to place it under the Emerald platform. So and who are the people that basically write the content? Very interesting things. We can cite, we can do a citations on expert briefings, but you are not able to find who are the authors. You are not able to find author names. The reason why is because the authors are due to the security and also the privacy of it. The authors' names are actually hidden. The authors are coming from the academics. 70 to 80% are from the academics, while the other 15 to 20% are from the government of the day, the policymakers, the officers, the analysts to the Prime Minister office. So those are the people that have been writing for Oxford Analytica, and because their informations are quite sensitive at times. Hence, their names are basically hidden.
Yeah, I think this will prevent cyberbullying and trolling and whatever we are talking.
Yes, and also prevent people that gonna fired after that.
Yeah, right. So it's good lah. So with all these sources, now at least it enables one person to verify, so they don't have to believe all these fake news and things like that.
Exactly, and also Analytica actually adopt the peer review. So before the author published that, then it also went into peer review as well. Yeah. So right, let's see, is there? All right. Thank you so much to Patricia. Oh, there is an email, right? And that. So right, is there any questions from the floor?
As long as they understand all this media literacy, the proper use of media, I think we are all in good hands. Huh?
Exactly. And like what you have shared, is really interesting. It's really important for us to have a critical thinking, to always questions, right? Does this credible or not? Where does this actually coming from? So I still remember last time during the COVID-19, the KKM or MOE, they released the number of cases. People basically Photoshop it and all kind of numbers coming out, 1,000, 5,000.
There's a lot of problem with all these people in the internet, yeah.
Exactly. So people try to, try to induce fear, I think, or they just want us to play a part in doing a content creating. This is really bad. So with that, I would like to that would be a good idea. It's actually comments by Zuvina. Maybe the next sessions we can actually discuss on cyberbullying and its consequences, right? That is actually very, very interesting. Yeah, that's actually very interesting. Whereas we can actually get Dr. Janaki on that on the next sessions. Right. With that, I think I have nothing from my side. I would like to also get Puan Shaniza. If it's okay, we would be end these sessions. Right. Yes. Okay. Right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, Dr. Janaki, if I may, once again, not if I may, I wanted to really thank you from the bottom of my heart, and to say, for accepting the invitations being a speaker.
Yeah, last minute invitation.
Yeah, last minute invitation.
Thank you to Emerald and you.
Really thank you. I also learned a lot from you and the presentation. I believe some of the audience here will also learn from you as well, and how we can have a critical thinking on the media and literacy. So big thank you to you, Dr. Janaki. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Also, and also very thank you to the Pustaka teams, Juan, Shaniza, Tony, that from the background. Tony is basically Tony is a PIC that runs the Zoom platform. And also Juan, Aini and her team in actually organizing this particular. The last one to say thank you is all the audience. I could not offer to give more. Oh, I can see that. I could not offer to give more of this. But really hope you guys have some times in learning here. And thank you for your times. We all hope to see you all in the next session soon. With that, I'll end these sessions. I'll pass back the floor to Pustaka team, either Tony or Puan Shaniza to stop the recording or to end that. And the last one, again, thank you, Dr. Janaki. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Tersergam indah megah, menjadi kebanggaan kita, bukti wawasan dicita, maklumat dan pengetahuan, penuh terhimpun harta ilmu untuk kita terokan. Pustaka Negeri Sarawak, wadah ilmu untuk semua, bersama kita manfaatkannya. Pustaka Negeri Sarawak, berteknologi dan berusaha, berkhidmat ikhlas untuk kita. Pustaka Negeri Sarawak. Tersergam indah megah, menjadi kebanggaan kita, bukti wawasan dicita, maklumat dan pengetahuan, penuh terhimpun harta ilmu untuk kita taruhkan. Pustaka Negeri Sarawak, wadah ilmu untuk semua, bersama kita manfaatkannya. Pustaka Negeri Sarawak, berteknologi dan berusaha, berkhidmat ikhlas untuk kita. Pustaka Negeri Sarawak. Dipenuhi aktiviti, sentiasa diikuti